These two women took home the wrong babies. It wasn't until months later that Jenny noticed something strange. Her baby's lips were turning blue. She took the baby to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed a congenital heart defect. The treatment would be expensive and long-term. Jenny stood by the incubator, heartbroken. She mentioned to the nurse that the baby had a birthmark on her right leg. The nurse didn't think much of it until later that night. A co-worker casually mentioned that Shirley's baby's birthmark had disappeared. The senior nurse froze. She rushed to check the records and made a shocking discovery. Jenny and Shirley's babies had been switched at birth. Tears streaming down her face, the nurse confided in a colleague. She had made a terrible mistake.
Dent baby is with the Smiths, and the Smith baby is with the Dents.
As it turned out, Jenny and Shirley were close friends. They had given birth on the same day, and both had baby girls. In the chaos of a sudden hospital fire and due to missing ID tags, the babies were mixed up. After double-checking the blood types of the babies and their parents, the truth became undeniable. The families were called into the hospital. With a heavy heart, the senior nurse confessed everything, hoping the babies could be returned to their biological mothers.
You gave our baby to them while we've been to hell with theirs.
And we've given our love to yours.
Shirley, in tears, asked how her real baby was doing. The nurse told her she had a heart condition. Shirley broke down in grief, but then Jenny spoke.
She needs someone capable.
And you think I'm not?
You never took anything seriously.
After caring for the child day and night, she had already come to love her as her own. No matter the cost, she said, she would never abandon her. One day, Shirley came to visit, gently pushing a stroller. She asked Jenny to give the baby back. Even if she was sick, Shirley vowed to love her forever.
This pregnant woman gained over 110 pounds. The nurse advised her to control her weight, but she didn't care. She even said gaining weight gave her strength to deliver the baby. After a checkup, Jenny was diagnosed with high blood pressure and diabetes. The baby felt quite large during the examination. Jenny said her first two babies were delivered naturally. One weighed 9 pounds, the other 11. She hoped this one would break the record. The nurse warned her not to be too optimistic. For the baby's safety, she recommended giving birth at the hospital, but Jenny refused, saying she had 2 other kids to care for. A few days later, the nurse visited Jenny's home. Jenny was ironing sheets, mopping the floor, and sipping on iced orange juice after the chores. She didn't act like a pregnant woman at all. The nurse noticed Jenny was always thirsty, a classic symptom of diabetes. But no matter how she warned her, Jenny didn't take it seriously. She said it was just because of her age. Her due date passed by over a week, but the baby still hadn't arrived. The nurse urged her to get a hospital checkup. Jenny reluctantly agreed. The results weren't good, and the doctor's attitude upset her.
3 hours. I waited to be spoken to like that. I won't be coming here again.
Hurt by the way she was treated, Jenny refused to give birth at the hospital. As her contractions worsened, Jenny's husband called a midwife.
Well, don't just stand there. Go to work.
Jenny was in severe pain, much worse than her first 2 deliveries. She pushed with all her might, but the baby showed no sign of coming out. 3 hours passed. Jenny was exhausted.
I've been pushing for so long. I can't do anymore.
The doctor rushed over after hearing the news. He sterilized the forceps, hoping to pull the baby out, but the baby's head was still too high. If they didn't act fast, both mother and child would be in danger. Jenny was rushed to the hospital screaming in pain. A C-section was performed. The good news, she gave birth to a baby boy. The bad news, the baby weighed 13 pounds and had to be placed in an incubator immediately. Only then did Jenny feel deep regret. The pregnant woman wore tight stockings every day, with flawless makeup. She just wanted to show her husband the most perfect version of herself. But the varicose veins in her legs were so painful she could barely walk. No matter how the midwife tried to persuade her, she wouldn't listen. The midwife gave Jenny a pair of compression socks. Jenny refused them with a look of disgust. One day, Jenny suddenly bumped her leg. Her husband rushed her to the hospital. During the examination, she finally remembered what the midwife had said.
I should have worn the support stockings the midwife gave me. I know that now.
And those high heels won't be helping.
When Jenny was hospitalized, she asked the midwife to leave behind her curling iron. She wanted to fix her hair before her husband arrived. Jenny was deeply insecure. After getting pregnant, she developed stretch marks. Even coughing too hard made her pee her pants. They had only been married for 9 months. She was afraid her husband would be disgusted by her. So Jenny tried her best to keep up appearances. On the day of delivery, because of her bad habits, the baby was in the wrong position. 3 hours passed, and she still couldn't give birth. The only option was to perform an episiotomy.
Is that my Kathleen?
Well, it sounds like she's being torn limb from limb.
Soon after, her husband heard the baby's cry from the delivery room. He was overwhelmed with joy. He rushed into the room and saw his wife's condition. Though he said he didn't mind, he quickly made an excuse and left. The next day, he returned to the hospital holding flowers. He slowly walked to her bedside. This time, Jenny had returned to her usual polished self. The husband couldn't help but want to kiss her, but he accidentally touched her wound. He felt terribly guilty. Then, he apologized to his wife. The pregnant woman insisted on giving birth early, even though everything was normal. The midwife rushed to stop her, warning that inducing labor too soon could be extremely dangerous.
So I need it to come now. You can make it come.
But the real reason was her useless husband. Jenny only asked for a baby stroller, and he said she was being greedy. While other men were up early working at the docks, her husband lay on the couch all day. The savings jar was already empty, and Jenny had to borrow money from her mother to get by. With no choice, the man finally left the house to find work, but he went too late. The dock boss had already picked his crew. The next day, the midwife visited Jenny for a checkup. Jenny proudly showed off a brand new stroller her husband had bought. She beamed with happiness, thinking her husband had finally stepped up. When he came home, Jenny helped him take off his shoes and wrapped her arms around him gently. But she didn't realize his work hook was missing. Later, she went to the docks to bring him lunch. The boss said he never showed up for work. Shocked and angry, Jenny collapsed from stress and pain. The midwife ran to the tavern to find her husband and bring him home. When the truth came out, Jenny screamed at him. She couldn't take it anymore.
I can't carry you and all. You ain't no good for me. I want you gone.
But the next day, her husband was found bleeding from the nose and mouth at the dock. It turned out he had leukemia. He never went to the hospital because they couldn't afford it. The doctor said he only had a few days left. Jenny sat at his bedside, filled with regret. Then she made a heartbreaking decision. She asked the nurse to induce labor. She wanted her husband to see their baby before he died. While the nurses helped her through labor, doctors closely monitored the dying man. Jenny endured painful contractions with the help of the midwives, but her husband's condition was getting worse by the minute.
And you will be here waiting for her. Do you hear me?
The salesman was promoting formula milk to pregnant women. The midwife overheard and loudly scolded him.
Baby has the best, and it's free, the breast. This is nonsense.
The salesman claimed that formula milk was just as nutritious as breast milk. He even said it could help mothers regain their figure, but the elderly nurse stubbornly insisted that he was a liar. After saying this, she pulled away Jenny, who had been listening in. Because of a physical condition, Jenny also faced breastfeeding difficulties. The midwife told her to wear a correction device every day. This way, after the baby was born, it wouldn't go hungry. Jenny suggested trying formula feeding. The nurse snapped at her, calling her stupid. She even said that women who couldn't breastfeed didn't deserve to be mothers. This left Jenny deeply ashamed. Soon the day of delivery arrived. With the nurse's help, Jenny gave birth smoothly, but her joy quickly turned into worry about her milk supply. Hours passed and Jenny still had no milk. The midwife stressed that colostrum was extremely important. No formula could compare to it, but Jenny was in unbearable pain. She begged the nurse for a can of formula.
We want the very best for baby, don't we?
Even though waves of pain shot through her body, Jenny gritted her teeth and endured. A week later, Jenny couldn't help but complain to the midwife. Her baby seemed to be getting lighter for no reason. The midwife suspected Jenny had very low milk production. She asked if Jenny needed help, but by then, Jenny had been completely brainwashed by the elderly nurse. She strongly rejected formula and told the nurse to go away. Then one day, Jenny's husband rushed to the hospital for help. When the nurse hurried to Jenny's home, she found her helplessly holding the baby.
What kind of mother can't feed her own baby?
You're bleeding.
The nurse felt the diaper and discovered the baby hadn't urinated for several hours. The baby was severely dehydrated. She immediately told the husband to fetch sugar water. Even in such a critical moment, Jenny still refused to give her baby formula.